Drive past any major auto mall in America right now. Row after silent row of unsold inventory baking under the sun. Not the usual ebb and flow of seasonal sales. This is different. This is paralysis. Dealerships across the country are sitting on inventory with market day supply numbers hitting 300, 400, even 500 plus days. Cars that should turn every 60 days are now projected to sit for over a year. A death spiral that's accelerating by the week. And the financial hemorrhage is brutal. Each unsold vehicle costs dealers between $42 and $86 per day in floor plan financing alone. Multiply that by an average inventory of 350 units. That's $15,000 to $30,000 bleeding out daily. One Chevy dealer in Michigan told me last week, "I wake up at 3 a.m. in cold sweats. We're literally paying to keep cars nobody wants." The catalyst? The FTC's Combating Auto Retail Scams rule that rewrote the entire playbook overnight. No more hidden fees. No more surprise add-ons. No more junk charges buried in contracts. Front-end gross profit collapsed instantly, and the entire dealer model is unraveling before our eyes. Give me the next few minutes, and I'll show you the hard data behind this collapse, the exact tactics dealers are using to survive, and how you can leverage this chaos to potentially save thousands on your next vehicle purchase. This isn't just a temporary slump. It's not seasonal. It's structural. What we're witnessing isn't just about high prices. It's about the wrong cars at the wrong prices with the wrong financing, all colliding with a sudden transparency requirement that exposed decades of pricing games. It's a perfect storm where credit availability, inventory mix, consumer trust, and regulation have created a two-tier market, thriving stores that adapted and dying lots that can't move metal. The foundations of the traditional dealer model are cracking. For decades, dealers operated on a simple formula: make modest margins on the vehicle, then maximize profit through financing, insurance products, and service. That formula depended on information asymmetry. Dealers knew more than buyers about true costs, profit margins, and financing options. That advantage has evaporated overnight. Transparency regulations combined with internet-savvy consumers have stripped away the veil. Now dealers are stuck with inventory ordered under the old paradigm, but must sell it under new rules that demand complete disclosure and consumer consent. So what's really happening to these cars that can't sell? And which brands are getting hit the hardest? Let's talk market day supply, or MDS. This is the key metric the industry uses to measure inventory health. It's calculated by dividing the current stock by the average daily sales rate. In simple terms, if you have 300 cars and sell 5 per day, that's a 60-day supply. Healthy dealerships maintain between 45 to 60 days supply. Anything above 100 is concerning. Above 200? That's catastrophic territory, a sign that inventory has completely stalled. To put this in perspective, during the inventory shortage of 2021 to 2022, most dealers were operating with an MDS of 20 to 30 days. Cars arrived and sold within weeks. Manufacturers became accustomed to this rapid turnover and ramped up production accordingly. But consumer demand didn't keep pace with this manufacturing surge, creating the glut we're seeing today. Industry analysts I've spoken with say the current nationwide average MDS sits at 92 days, already concerning. But that average masks the extremes. Some high-volume brands like Toyota maintain healthy 45 to 60-day supplies, while others have specific models sitting at 300, 400, or even 500-plus days. Now let's count down the worst situations happening right now. Cadillac Lyriq, 267-day supply. Cadillac has over 5,800 Lyriqs sitting nationwide, with only 653 sold in the past 45 days. Average transaction price, $69,430 with discounts now reaching $7,500 off MSRP. Why buyers are rejecting it. Price to badge value misalignment and range anxiety. We've got customers walking in interested, then walking right out when they see the price tag, one Midwest Cadillac dealer told me. They're cross-shopping Tesla and aren't convinced the Cadillac badge justifies similar pricing. The Lyriq represents Cadillac's big electric gamble, a vehicle that cost GM billions to develop. The company projected monthly sales of 2,000 units, but is achieving barely a third of that. Dealers who invested millions in EV infrastructure upgrades to sell these vehicles are now questioning that investment as the cars languish. One Colorado Cadillac dealer explained, "We spent $1.2 million on charging infrastructure and training. For what? To watch these cars gather dust while our finance guys calculate the daily loss?" Jeep Grand Cherokee, 289-day supply. Jeep dealerships are drowning in over 27,000 Grand Cherokees, with just 2,800 sold in the last 45 days. Average transaction, $52,780. The killer? Fuel economy concerns and increasing competition from more efficient crossovers. We're offering $8,000 below sticker and still can't move them, a Jeep dealer in Texas explained. Customers walk in, look at the MPG, then ask about hybrids from other brands. The Grand Cherokee was once Jeep's crown jewel, a profitable, high-volume seller that balanced rugged capability with family-friendly features. But the latest generation's price increase pushed it into territory where fuel efficiency and technology features become more critical purchase factors. Against Korean and Japanese competitors offering similar space with better efficiency and more tech at lower prices, the Grand Cherokee's value proposition has collapsed. Stellantis executives reportedly held an emergency dealer council meeting last month where they acknowledged the pricing strategy had failed. One dealer who attended told me, "They basically admitted they priced themselves out of the market, but their solution was just discount them, as if we hadn't tried that already." Chevrolet Silverado, HD, 312-day supply. With over 31,000 heavy-duty Silverados parked nationwide and only 2,980 sold in the past 45 days, Chevy dealers are in panic mode. Average transaction, $71,450. The problem? Interest rates pricing out traditional buyers. These trucks were our bread and butter. Now we've got customers approved at 8.9% who walk away because the payment is astronomical. The heavy-duty truck market has been particularly vulnerable to interest rate sensitivity. A $71,000 truck financed at 4% costs about $1,305 monthly over 60 months. That same truck at 8.9% jumps to $1,479, an additional $174 monthly or $10,440 over the life of the loan. For commercial buyers who might purchase multiple vehicles, that delta becomes untenable. Dealers are especially frustrated because manufacturer incentives haven't adjusted to this reality. GM is offering $1,000 Conquest cash when we need $7,500 rate buy-downs, one dealer in Oklahoma vented. It's like they're completely disconnected from what's happening on the ground. Alfa Romeo Tonale, 342-day supply. Alfa has just 1,200 units nationwide, but with only 105 sold in 45 days, that's catastrophic. Average price, $48,950. The issue? Brand trust and dealer network limitations. People don't know what these are, and when they find out it's an Alfa, they immediately ask about reliability, one East Coast dealer admitted. The Tonale represents an ambitious volume play for a brand that has struggled to establish mainstream recognition in America. Despite Stellantis pouring millions into marketing, consumer awareness remains minimal. Those who do recognize the brand often associate it with reliability concerns from decades past. One dealer in New Jersey with 6 tonals, all sitting for over 200 days, said, "We've got gorgeous Italian design at premium prices with minimal brand recognition. That's a tough sell in this market. When customers can get a German or Japanese crossover with established reputations at similar prices, why would they gamble on Alpha?" Lincoln Nautilus, 376-day supply. Lincoln sitting on 7,600 units with only 606 sold in 45 days. Transaction price, $59,880. The problem is clear: price-to-value perception against German competitors. Customers look at this price point and say, for this money, I can get into a base BMW X5. We have no counter to that. Lincoln has attempted to reinvent itself as an American luxury player, but the price positioning hasn't aligned with consumer perception. The Nautilus falls into a particularly challenging segment where it competes directly with the German luxury brand's entry points. A base BMW X5 starts at $63,900, just $4,000 more than the average Nautilus transaction price, but with considerably stronger brand cachet. Lincoln Corporate keeps telling us to sell the experience, not the features, one Pennsylvania dealer explained. But when a customer has their heart set on a BMW, and we're within a few $1,000s, no amount of experience talk overcomes that badge desire. Buick Envista, 398-day supply. Buick has 12,400 Envistas nationwide, with only 934 sold in 45 days. Average price, $33,270. The killer? Brand perception doesn't support the price point. Customers expect Buick to be the value play. When they see these prices, they just leave. The Envista represents GM's attempt to modernize Buick with European-inspired design at premium prices. But the market has rejected this positioning. Buick, once positioned as a near-luxury brand for value-conscious buyers, now finds itself priced alongside mainstream brands' top trim levels without the brand equity to support it. An Ohio dealer with 22 Envistas in stock, all sitting over 200 days, described the disconnect. "We've got customers walking in who remember Buick as their grandparents' affordable near-luxury car. They see $35,000 plus stickers and physically recoil. Then they go buy a loaded Mazda CX-30 for less money." Internal GM documents shared with me show the company projected 3,000 monthly Envista sales. The reality, barely 620 per month nationwide. Chrysler 300, 412-day supply. With production ended, 3,800 final Chrysler 300 sit on lots with just 276 sold in 45 days. Average price, $41,890. The problem? Outdated platform with premium pricing. It's a 20-year-old platform with a fresh coat of paint selling at $42,000. People aren't that nostalgic. Chrysler attempted to capitalize on the 300's farewell by releasing special editions at premium prices. The market response has been tepid at best. The platform, dating back to 2005 with roots in Mercedes-Benz technology from the early 2000s, shows its age against modern competitors. "We've got the 300C Hemi models at $55,000, a Chrysler dealer in Florida told me. Beautiful cars. But customers look at the interior technology and compare it to a modern $35,000 sedan and just walk away. The nostalgia play is failing hard. With Chrysler's future uncertain, the brand currently offers just 2 models. Dealers worry about becoming service-only facilities in the near term. Nissan Armada, 446-day supply. Nissan's juggling 6,400 Armadas with only 431 sold in 45 days. Transaction price, $63,720. The rejection reason? Fuel economy in a fuel-conscious market. People take one look at the 14 MPG sticker and walk away. We've cut $12,000 off and still nothing. The full-size SUV segment has bifurcated dramatically. Luxury buyers willing to accept poor fuel economy have migrated to the Cadillac Escalade, Jeep Grand Wagoneer, or Lincoln Navigator with their more premium interiors. Value-conscious buyers who need the space have shifted to more efficient three-row crossovers. This has left the Armada and its 14 miles per gallon city or 19 miles per gallon highway ratings stranded in a no-man's land. At $63,720 average transaction is too expensive for budget-conscious buyers and not premium enough for luxury shoppers. A Washington State Nissan dealer with 18 Armadas in stock said, "Even with $12,000 discounts, the long-term ownership costs scare people away. A $12,000 discount divided by 60 months saves $200 monthly, but the extra fuel costs eat that up immediately." Genesis G560, 487-day supply. Genesis has 2,100 units with only 129 sold in 45 days. Price, $67,890. The issue? Brand recognition doesn't support the premium EV pricing. Customers compare it to Tesla or Polestar and ask, "What's Genesis?" We spend the whole test drive explaining who we are instead of selling the car. Genesis has attempted to enter the premium EV space with compelling products but minimal brand awareness. The GV60 offers impressive range and performance, but at nearly $68,000, it competes directly with established EV players like Tesla and traditional luxury brands' electric offerings. We get constant comparisons to the Tesla Model Y, a California Genesis dealer explained. The GV60 is arguably a better-built, more luxurious car, but Tesla has that brand cachet we can't match. I've had customers literally say, "This is nice, but my neighbors won't know what it is." The irony is that the GV60 has received positive critical reviews. But in a market where EVs remain a status purchase for many buyers, anonymous excellence isn't enough. Jaguar F-Pace, 534-day supply. Jaguar's drowning with 2,800 F-Paces and just 157 sold in 45 days. Transaction, $74,650. The killer combination? Reliability concerns, residual value collapse, and brand uncertainty. We've got units that have been here over 400 days. We've cut $18,000 off MSRP and still can't get people to take test drives. Jaguar represents perhaps the most dramatic collapse on our list. The brand has announced a full pivot to electric vehicles, effectively signaling the end of its current product line. This has created a market perception that current models are lame ducks, demolishing resale values and killing new car sales. One Jaguar dealer in Connecticut has 14 F-Paces, all sitting over 300 days. We've got gorgeous vehicles that nobody wants. The residual values have collapsed so badly that leasing, traditionally 70% of our business, is now impossible. Banks are setting residuals at 32% after 36 months. That's financial suicide for the customer. The F-Pace, once Jaguar's volume leader, now sits motionless on lots across America. Dealers report that even $18,000 to $22,000 discounts aren't generating meaningful traffic. We're approaching 40% off MSRP on some units, one dealer admitted. At this point, we're looking at wholesaling them at losses approaching $30,000 per unit just to stop the bleeding. So what happens when cars sit this long? The financial damage becomes exponential. Every car in a dealer lot is essentially financed inventory. Dealers pay what's called floor plan interest. Think of it as the mortgage on their inventory. Right now, that cost averages $53 per day per vehicle. For a mid-sized dealer with 350 cars, that's $18,550 bleeding out daily. That's over $500,000 monthly just to keep the lights on. Take Mike's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram store in Pennsylvania. He's sitting on 412 units, paying $57 per day per vehicle in floor plan. That's $23,484 daily, just in interest, for inventory that's barely moving. "We're literally losing money by opening our doors," he told me. "I've got Wranglers I've discounted 22% below MSRP that haven't had a single test drive in 3 months. But the problem compounds. Banks have what's called aging limits on floor plan loans. Once a vehicle hits 270 days on the lot, many floor plan providers increase the interest rate. After 365 days, some require immediate payment. This creates a death spiral where the longest sitting inventory becomes the most expensive to hold, but the hardest to sell. The math becomes brutal. That F-Pace sitting at 534 days? At $53 daily, the dealer has paid $28,302 just in interest to keep it on the lot. Add the initial $74,650 investment, and they've got over $102,000 tied up in a vehicle that would require a $22,000 discount just to generate a test drive. Even selling at MSRP would now result in a significant loss. Then there's the opportunity cost. That capital tied up in non-moving inventory could be deployed on models that actually sell. One Ford dealer in Arizona calculated that for every F-150 they sell, 38-day supply, they could turn that capital 8 to 9 times annually. But for every Expedition, 276-day supply, sitting on the lot, that same capital generates zero return. The industry has a term for this: cash burn rate. It measures how quickly a dealer is depleting cash reserves to maintain operations. In healthy times, dealers might burn 2 to 3% of their cash monthly. Multiple dealers I've spoken with report current burn rates of 8 to 12% monthly, a pace that would deplete reserves within a year. Desperate dealers are turning to stealth liquidation, quietly wholesaling aged units at massive losses to avoid public discounting that would destroy the perceived value of their newer inventory. Others are absorbing negative equity at historic levels, sometimes paying off $12,000 plus on trade-ins just to move metal. Jennifer's luxury store in California provides a stark example. We took a $72,000 Genesis GV80 that had been sitting 310 days and wholesaled it to a broker for $54,000, she explained. That's an $18,000 loss, but it stopped the bleeding. We were spending $1,600 monthly just on floor plan for a car that wasn't moving. The third tactic is phantom branding, downplaying struggling brands on multi-franchise lots. We've moved all our Chrysler and Dodge inventory to the back lot and positioned Jeep up front, one dealer admitted. We don't even mention the Chrysler brand unless customers specifically ask. Time destroys margin. Debt destroys the business. Notice a pattern in our list? Stellantis brands, Jeep, Chrysler, and traditional American luxury, Cadillac, Lincoln, Buick, are massively overrepresented. This isn't coincidence, it's structural. Internal dealer network memos I've reviewed show Stellantis projecting a 22% reduction in their dealer count over the next 18 months. That's not consolidation, that's collapse. Their product cadence, pricing strategy, and EV transition planning have created a perfect storm where dealers can't move current product, but are required to make massive facility investments for future product that consumers haven't embraced. The numbers are staggering. Industry data shows Stellantis brands with an average MDS of 178 days, nearly triple the healthy range. Jeep, once the crown jewel of the portfolio, sits at 132 days. Dodge at 189 days. Chrysler at 197 days. Alfa Romeo at 229 days. Each brand alone would be concerning. Together, they signal systemic failure. One multi-point Stellantis dealer in the Midwest shared internal communications showing the company acknowledges the problem but has minimal solutions. They're offering marketing support and suggesting we discount aggressively. But they're still requiring facility upgrades for EV certification that cost millions. It's a death sentence for smaller dealers. The American luxury brands face a different structural problem: identity crisis. Cadillac, Lincoln, and Buick all attempt to compete with established luxury players while lacking either the brand equity or product differentiation to succeed. Their MDS numbers reflect this. Cadillac at 143 days, Lincoln at 157 days, Buick at 168 days. "We're caught in no man's land," a Cadillac dealer explained. "We're priced like luxury brands but perceived as premium domestic." The Lyriq is a perfect example. It's a genuinely excellent vehicle priced against Tesla and BMW, but the badge doesn't support the price point. The dealer consolidation has already begun. In the past 6 months, 41 Stellantis dealers have closed or consolidated. 19 Cadillac dealers surrendered their franchises rather than make required EV investments. Lincoln has lost 12 standalone stores, integrating those franchises into Ford dealerships to reduce overhead. This consolidation creates geographic service deserts, where owners of these brands must travel significantly farther for warranty work and maintenance. That prospect further depresses resale values, creating a vicious cycle of brand deterioration. The catalyst for this meltdown? The FTC's Combating Auto Retail Scams rule that went into effect 6 months ago. This regulation mandated complete pricing transparency, eliminated junk fees, required explicit line-item consent for add-ons, and essentially outlawed the bait-and-switch tactics many dealerships relied on for decades. Overnight, front-end profit, the margin dealers make on the vehicle itself, collapsed by 38% industry-wide. Dealers who were making $3,800 per unit in pack and add-ons suddenly found themselves limited to honest pricing with informed consumers. To understand how revolutionary this change is, we need to examine the traditional dealer profit model. Historically, dealers made modest profits on the vehicle itself, typically 3 to 8% of MSRP. The real money came from finance reserve, dealers marking up the interest rate provided by lenders, often adding 1 to 2.5 percentage points. Add-on products, paint protection, extended warranties, GAP insurance, all marked up 100 to 300%. Documentation and preparation fees, often $499 to $999 for paperwork that costs $20 to $50 to process. PAC, an artificial markup added to invoice price before negotiation begins. The FTC rule targeted each of these profit centers. Finance reserve, now capped at 100 basis points, 1% for most transactions. Add-ons must be individually disclosed with explicit consent, with misrepresentation penalties. Documentation fees must reflect actual costs. PAC, effectively eliminated through disclosure requirements. The results were immediate and devastating. According to National Automobile Dealers Association data, average front-end gross profit per vehicle dropped from $3,845 to $2,381 in the first month after implementation. Even in states where industry lawsuits have temporarily paused federal enforcement, state attorneys general have continued pressure. California, New York, and Massachusetts have all enacted mirror legislation with aggressive enforcement units. One California dealer paid $1.4 million in settlement costs for practices that were industry standard just months ago. New York's Attorney General has been particularly aggressive, establishing a dedicated auto retail enforcement unit that has investigated 38 dealerships in the past quarter alone. Massachusetts has implemented a three-strikes policy where dealers face license revocation after 3 documented transparency violations. We operated one way for 50 years, and overnight they changed all the rules, one dealer group executive told me. The worst part is the inconsistency. Some states are enforcing aggressively, others aren't enforcing at all. So national groups have to maintain completely different processes by state. The rule didn't create consumer distrust, it revealed it, and now manufacturers are accelerating direct-to-consumer models that bypass the traditional dealer entirely, further eroding the franchise model that's existed for a century. Ford has created separate business units for EV sales with modified dealer agreements. GM has offered buyouts to Buick and Cadillac dealers unwilling to transition to a new sales model. Even Toyota, traditionally dealer-friendly, has implemented a digital-first approach that minimizes dealer involvement in the initial stages of the purchase process. How are car manufacturers responding to this crisis? With surprising divergence in strategy. Some brands are doubling down on production cuts. Honda announced a 22% reduction in North American production for the second half of 2025. Toyota has slowed production at 5 plants. Nissan has extended summer shutdowns at 2 factories from 2 weeks to 5. Others are flooding the market with incentives to move metal. Stellantis leads this group, offering combined incentives exceeding $12,000 on some models. Ford has implemented private offer incentives targeted at specific customer groups. GM has increased lease subvention to artificially inflate residual values. A third group is accelerating their transition to build-to-order models. Volkswagen Group, including Audi, has announced plans to reduce dealer inventory by 40% while implementing a European-style ordering system. Ford has already transitioned fleet sales to 100% build-to-order and aims for 30% of retail sales to follow suit by year-end. The manufacturers are all over the map. One multi-franchise dealer group executive explained. Some are helping with aggressive incentives. Others are essentially telling us, your inventory problem isn't our problem. The inconsistency makes planning impossible. The most concerning trend is manufacturers using the crisis to accelerate direct-to-consumer sales models. Tesla's sales model, fixed pricing, online ordering, minimal inventory, has proven resilient in this environment. Traditional manufacturers are taking notice. Internal documents from one major manufacturer shared with me outline a 5-year plan to transition from the current dealer model to an agency model where dealers become delivery and service points compensated through fixed fees rather than inventory markup. The same manufacturer has reduced allocation to struggling dealers, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of decline. Walk into a Toyota, Honda, or Hyundai showroom today, and you'll see a completely different picture. Cars arriving pre-sold, turnover measured in hours, not months. Sales teams focused on customer experience instead of high-pressure closes. Then drive across town to many domestic or luxury brands. Empty showrooms, salespeople staring at their phones. Inventory that looks exactly the same as it did 3 months ago. The difference isn't just volume, it's trust and perceived value. Brands that built reputations for transparency and value alignment are thriving in this new reality. Those that relied on pricing games and add-on profit are facing extinction. Let's compare real numbers. Toyota maintains an average 43-day supply nationwide. Honda, 51 days. Hyundai, 46 days. All comfortably within the healthy range. Their dealers report average days to turn of 18 to 22 days. Their profit per vehicle has decreased only marginally under the new regulations because they relied less on the tactics now restricted. The contrast with struggling brands is stark. A Toyota dealer in Virginia shared, "We're operating at full capacity. Most vehicles are spoken for before they hit the lot. Our challenge isn't selling cars, it's getting enough inventory to meet demand. Just 3 miles away, a domestic brand dealer tells a different story. We haven't had a double-digit sales day in 4 months. We've got salespeople playing cards in the break room because there's nothing else to do. This two-tier reality extends to the types of vehicles consumers want. Fuel-efficient models, hybrids, small crossovers, compact cars are moving quickly. Gas-guzzling SUVs and trucks sit. Electric vehicles are similarly divided. Affordable EVs with established track records move quickly, while expensive models from unproven brands languish. The consumer behavior driving this divergence is clear. Buyers have become dramatically more cautious. They're gravitating toward brands with proven reliability, reasonable operating costs, and transparent pricing. The days of emotional purchases backed by aggressive financing are waning as interest rates remain elevated. So how can you use this information to your advantage? Buyer tactics and timing. This market collapse has created unprecedented leverage for informed buyers. Here's your playbook. Target high MDS models. Research before shopping and identify brands and models with 200-plus day supply. These are your leverage points. Industry resources like Automotive News and GoodCarBadCar.net publish supply figures regularly. Use the floor plan relief approach. Tell the sales manager, I know this unit has been here 182 days. At $53 per day in floor plan, that's $9,646 you've already spent just to hold it. I'm offering relief from that bleeding. This framing acknowledges their pain point directly. Request the Aged Inventory Report. Dealers track aging by days on lot. Ask specifically for units over 120 days old. These are financial toxic assets they need to move. Salespeople are often reluctant to show this report, but sales managers have access to it. The magic phrase, I'm interested in helping you with your aged inventory problem. Shop end a month. Floor plan interest is calculated monthly. Dealers are most motivated in the last 3 to 5 days of each month to reduce that next bill. Even better, shop month end. That also coincides with quarter end, March, June, September, December. The pressure to hit quarterly targets adds another layer of motivation. Cross-shop across state lines. The regulatory enforcement varies dramatically by state. Dealerships in states with aggressive AG enforcement are discounting deeper. California, New York, Massachusetts, and Washington have the most aggressive enforcement units. Dealers in these states are often discounting 8 to 12% more aggressively than neighboring states with minimal enforcement. Use the days to turn metric. Ask, what's your current average days to turn on this model? If they say anything over 60 days, you have immediate leverage. The follow-up. And how many days has this specific unit been on your lot? The longer it's been sitting, the more negotiating power you have. Exploit model year transition. We're entering the period where 2026 models are arriving, while 2025 models still sit on lots. Dealers are desperate to clear out previous model year units before the new ones arrive. The price depreciation when a new model year hits is immediate and significant. For Stellantis brands specifically, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, be cautious about the service desert that's forming. If you buy, get the longest possible warranty coverage as dealer support infrastructure is collapsing. Consider third-party extended warranties that allow service at any ASE-certified shop, rather than dealer-only options. Use the sales-to-inventory ratio question. Ask, what's your current sales-to-inventory ratio? Healthy dealers maintain 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, selling 2 to 3 cars monthly for every car in inventory. Struggling dealers are often at 0.5 to 1 or worse. If they're below 1 to 1, that's your opening to discuss aggressive discounting. Target orphaned luxury models. Vehicles like the Genesis GV60, Alfa Romeo Tonale and Jaguar F-Pace face double jeopardy: high prices and limited brand recognition. On these models, discounts of 25 to 30% off MSRP are increasingly common as dealers face the reality that these units simply won't sell at anything close to sticker price. Avoid the F&I office pressure. With front-end profit compressed, dealers are pushing even harder on finance and insurance products. Be prepared for aggressive pitches on extended warranties, appearance packages, and gap insurance. Research fair prices for these products before entering the dealership and be willing to walk away from the deal if they won't budge on add-ons. Consider the total ownership cost equation. That $12,000 discount on a gas-guzzling SUV might seem attractive until you calculate the additional fuel costs over 5 years. Conversely, paying closer to MSRP for a fuel-efficient model with strong resale value might be the better financial decision long-term. The best timing window? Right now through the next 60 days. This is when model year changeover collides with quarterly financial reporting. Dealers need both inventory reduction and actual sales on the books. One finance director at a struggling domestic brand dealer told me, "September and October will see the deepest discounts we've offered in a decade. We're looking at negative gross profit just to move units off the books before year-end audits." The clock is ticking, the inventory is sitting, and dealers are sweating. The power has shifted to you, the informed buyer. Use it wisely.